Welcome back to the wonderful world of PC computing. I'm your host, JJ, and whether it takes a few minutes or a few hours, we're diving deep into everything PC related. So if you're enjoying the ride so far, don't forget to hit that like button. No, don't hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button first, then smash the like button, then tap the notification bell so you're not going to miss a bite. Or you're not going to miss out on a bite. It's not dinner, but it's definitely getting there. And if you're wanting to become an official member of JJ PC Build family, hit the join button, become a part of the faction because it helps support the channel. Now, let's get started with the video. Hey, you made it back. Good to see you. Let's get the party started and talk about the RTX 5050. And don't forget, we're going to be doing graphics card nightmares all at one time, but I'm going to give you a little bit of my news that I think about the 5050. So, it's because this card is stirring up all conversations for the right and wrong reasons. And it's official, too, that it's real, and it's launching in the second half of July as an entry-level GPU. Guys, it's entry-level. Let's not beat it up too much. This is from NVIDIA's new Blackwell lineup starting at $249 MSRP. Yeah. And you're getting 2,560 CUDA cores with 8 gigabytes of GDR6. But it supports DLSS 4. I mean, could they have not did a GDR6X and supported it with DLSS 4? Guys, key clue right here. 40 series. GDR6, GDR6X supports of DLSS 4 on a 5050. It should support a 40 series card too. It might be because the architecture and stuff like that, but I have a feeling that they can do it. It's just they don't want to for some reason. But anyway, it does support DLSS 4, Reflex 2, and PCIe 5.0. On paper, it sounds great, but like a decent general refresh, kind of like the 4050. But that's for a laptop, though. I don't get it. But anyway, modern features, efficient footprints, price is moving. But here's why the narrative flips. Early performance data puts the 5050 just 13% ahead of the GTX 1050. Guys, not 130%, not 1300%. And yes, a lot of folks got confused over this because this card only runs at 130 watts TDP. Okay. But don't get it mixed up. Those watts are not considered powered. You know, watts for power? I mean, really? That's a decade of GPU evolution reduced to a rounding error. That's if you're missing your measures without DLSS or AI enhancement features. A lot of people are not talking about that. But anyway, the problem is that the previous generation budget-friendly GPU like the 3050 only brings, I think in my head, like 44% uplift, maybe, on the high side. But I think it only brings like maybe 17% faster than the 3050. Some people say it's less than that. It's like 4 to 5 or 6%. It could be. We don't know. We don't have the actual card to benchmark it. So we're kind of going by a whim right now of what we hear on the internet. So take it all with a grain of salt. So, but you got to look at it. The 3050 is 44% faster compared to the 1050, the GTX 1050. So according to NVIDIA's own test, the RTX 5050 shows up and improves only 60% faster over the 3050. Not exactly disruptive follow-up people were hoping for. It's kind of true. So let's kind of zoom out of the faction right now and get our head wrapped up around tech power up and look at the scale and use the 1050 as a baseline. So let's go ahead and go over and see what's cooking. I decided this time not to put my face on this when I'm doing this chart right here. So we're looking at the 3050 and you got the 1050 right here. So this is showing 44% using the 3050 as a baseline, showing 44% slower, the 1050 slower than the 3056 gigabyte. That's just what's being said. Now they're showing 60% faster, 60% faster. Okay, let's bring this back up to 100, 60% faster. So that's what they're saying. They're saying it's equal with the Radeon RX 56 Vega. That's 60% faster. Or it's just behind the GTX 1070. Or basically, if you look at the 1070 Ti, and that's what this is, the Arc A580 is 1% faster than that. So if you're trying to tell me that you got, let's say this is the 5050, you're telling me that the A580 is 11% faster? And if you go up the scale, I mean, it's not looking good. Even the 6600, the 6600 is way out there. So if we get our calculator and just do our calculation, we'll see what's going on. So I'm pulling up the calculator now, which I got right here. There, now we got a good old spot right there where my face used to be. So if we were to go back down to the 30, I'll bring this back down. And this is at 100%, right? So bring it all the way up by the 3060, you're looking at 101%. If you're looking at the RX 6600, you're looking 93% faster than the 3056 gigabyte. Right here, the RX 6600, which is only on the market at $226 or so dollars. Cheaper than the RTX 5050. If you want to look at it price-wise. And you probably can get the A770 for a good price too. Even going up a little bit higher. Here's the 5060, which is 140% faster than the 5050. Guys, it's not rocket science. You don't have to be a magician to see what the truth is. Especially if Tech Power Up's putting it out there. Which they do every time they get a new graphics card. They update their relative performance profile. And this is the update of the version, but we're going to get the new update soon with the 5050. So even if you're looking to get the 5050, the 5060 is 140% faster than the 5050. And the 5060 is at $300 for 140% more performance. I'd rather go with the 5060 myself, to be truthful. Even though they're both 8 gigabyte cards. But you get a better advantage. You get GDDR7 on a 5060. And you get 140% more performance than the 5050. It's a no-brainer. That's just my conclusion on that. So the way it looks at the end of the day, is the 5050 viable? No. I'm going to have to tend to agree with some of the reviewers on this one. It's a good entry-level card, but if you're going to get it for $250, I would go with the $300 5060. Give you better performance. Especially at 140%. So guys, make sure you get your drink and snacks. I'm empty. I wonder why. Took me a little while to think about what I'm going to say on this video today. But I'm going to tell you what we're going to do. We're going to go over to graphics card nightmares, and we're going to get that started. So let's go ahead and just zero ourselves out from all this mess. You can find all this information on the internet. Go to Tech Power Up, search for, you know, how would I say that? You can put in like the 1050 specs, the GTX 1050 specs, or the RTX 3050 6 gigabyte specs, and it'll pull up Tech Power Up, and you just click on it and you go to its relative performance, and you can see on the chart that they build. It might not be 100% accurate, but I'll tell you what, it gives a good accuracy in what we're trying to accomplish, especially as you know, system builders and content creators and all that, all above. So, but if you really want to know what, and before we do go over, I'm going to bring you guys back down to the action screen again. Okay. This is the charts everybody was talking about right here. So the way the 5060 looks, it's way out here, and it should be way right here. That's where it should be on the chart. Then you got the 5050. Well, we just got done talking about it. It should be way back here. Should be right about here. And then you got the 4060, which should be right about here. And then you got the 3050, should be somewhere over here. Oh, that's 3060. That should be way up here. 3050 should be way up here. And then you go down the stack, then you got this lonely 1050 right here in the corner. But their relative performance chart, best to go with Tech Power Up. Okay, moving down the road, let's click on this. Since they did the 3050 compared to the 5050, which price-wise we'll get into in a minute when we go on Graphics Card Nightmares, so stick around for that, and we'll do a comparison price between 3050 and 5050. So this is 4x frame generation ray tracing that they're claiming. No way in hell that it does this. No way in hell. I'm telling you for a fact, I got the RTX 4070. No way in hell that a 5050 will do as much as the RTX 4070. No way. I don't care what stink you put on it. You have to put a lot of stink on it for it to reach this kind of price. Because even my RTX 4070 hits right about here. Even on Cyberpunk, it hits right here on a 4070. So you can't tell me that this card with less cores, less bandwidth, and everything else is this fast. Guys, this, I'm going to tell you, is a joke. Take it with a grain of salt. I'm not making the joke. This is no joke to me. But to this relative chart that came out, and this is from NVIDIA. This is not my chart. This is NVIDIA's chart. I'm just going by what I know on my chart for my 4070 and where it stands on performance. I've already benchmarked my 4070 so many times, I don't even need a chart anymore because I already know where it lands. And there's no way in hell that the RTX 5050, not even reaching more VRAM than the 4070, even the bandwidth. The 4070 has a bigger bandwidth and everything else. You cannot tell me that, going back to the chart again, there's no way in hell you're going to tell me, even on Cyberpunk, that it's faster than the 4070 at 4K. No way. Even if I turn 2x frame generation on, this isn't even take the 4x generation off. Just leave frame generation. DLSS frame generation only at a medium setting with ray tracing on. I guarantee your butthole will pucker up and come all the way back here. Your butthole will pucker up and come right back here with the 50 series. Not even here, because I'll tell you what, right about here, this is about where the 4070 sits. With frame generation with ray tracing. Sits right about here. Now 4x, so you're going to take this right here, and let's say that's about, they're saying that's about 170 FPS on Cyberpunk. 170. Okay, so take 170, divide, going backwards, 170 FPS divided by 4. This is where that lands. I'll do this one better for you. I'll blow this back up. right here. Right here. Next to the 3050. Just take that right off right there. Take the 3050 off and put 5050 without 4x frame generation. This is where it lands. Right here. There's your true numbers right here. The gray numbers. So now you see the true numbers. It's not the 3050 they're talking about. This is the actual numbers without all that crap on, and this is what you're getting. Only with frame generation and ray tracing on, you're getting these numbers off. That's all you're going to get. Simple. Now, when it comes to these numbers, I'd say this is like more or less like a 5090 than the 5050. I would say this is like a 5090, not a 5050. So that's how I see the numbers right now. But that's basically Cyberpunk right there. That's the maximum FPS this 5050 is going to get. Now it's 1% lows. I would knock off about maybe 27%. So I would say knock off 27. So you're going to get about 15.5 on the 1% lows. How I come up with these numbers is not easy. But this is what I feel with the bandwidth and everything else. You're only looking at, on 1% lows, on an average 15.5, and you're looking at max, maybe a little bit more, 42.5 as an average. So there it is. That's my 2 cents on the 5050. Has nothing to do with the VRAM just yet. We'll find out when it comes out on games. But as far as the average on the FPS, don't look at this to be a powerhouse card. No way. I beg to differ. So, that's my 2 cents on it. You guys wanted to know what I was thinking? That's what I'm thinking. Okay. Taking off the 4x frame rate, running it only at original frame per second, 42.5 on an average, and the 1% low at about 15 to 15.5 on an average. You never know. It could have a lot of latency, and it drops that average even lower. So look at it that way, take it with a grain of salt, and that's what I'm going to be doing right now, taking it as a grain of salt. So we are going back to square one, and I'm going to tell you why. Okay, we're done with that drama. Is it a card? Oh, got my foot itching, so sorry. Is it a card that's going to be viable? No. $50 difference between the 5050 and the 5060. They've already benchmarked the 5060. So you can see the benchmarks out there. And you can see that the benchmarks are going to be more solid because now you can see it. And you think the 5050 is going to be better. It's not. There's no way in hell that the 5050 is going to take, even at 4 times the frame generation. Even at 4 times the frame generation. I could put the 4070 at 2 times the frame generation and smoke out the 5050. So, and the 5060 is smoking it out with that much gap in between the two as far as relative performance. Guys, the 5050 should have been for a laptop, or it should have been a 5040. The 5060 should have been a 5050, and the 5050 should have been a 5040. Laptop performance. Truth is the truth. So when it comes out and everybody benchmarks it and everybody says to you that it's not going to be worth your time, they're going to be absolutely right. Because if you can get a B580 at $300, you can get a RX 6600 that's less than $250, and it beats it out in performance. A 6600. It's a novelty card. I recommend to everybody that watches my videos, that is a card you will not buy. I'm not saying you won't buy it. I'm saying it's recommended that you don't buy it. If they sent me the card and said, hey, can you benchmark this? Let's see the truth in it. I'll put it in my PC, benchmark it, and show you guys the numbers compared to my 4070. And show you that it's not viable compared to even a 40 series card. It's not. So that's what I was going to talk yesterday about that on the live stream. You guys can go watch the live stream. We had a hoopla over there. We were talking about Linux Mint, if it's good enough to run Steam, which it was not. It's a driver issue. I know it. It's going to take time to sort it out. But right now at this current time, it's an issue with the NVIDIA graphics cards. The drivers won't upload correctly and they won't install correctly. That's where I was stumped. With the newest drivers that's coming out of NVIDIA, that's where I was stumped at. So, but with an older card and you guys are with older PCs and you're looking to move to Linux, drivers might be an issue. So that might be something to consider. So it's kind of up in the air, 50-50. But anyway, we'll talk about that another time on another video. But I was just giving you a heads up what I thought about it. But now we're going to get into graphics card nightmares right here on the channel. Guys, we have to. It's that time of the week. So, without further ado, let's go back to the action screen and see what's cooking. We made it to the action screen. God, I burned up 25 minutes. Average 25 minutes. It's probably going to shorten up after I get it all squared away. But anywho, let's go ahead and go to Amazon. Let's go ahead and set up a tab for New Egg. So that way we can save you guys a little bit of time. And we'll set one for Micro Center. Micro Center. Okay. Now, we'll go ahead and go to Amazon site. We'll take and get the graphics cards, computer graphic cards, and get it started. Let's see. Oh, you guys are missing my face. Ain't that something? Yeah, we're going to leave my face off today. We're just going to go through it. And we're going to talk about it. So, and I'll get the big cursor out since y'all are going to bust my chops about it. We'll do that. We'll get the big cursor out. It's right here. This way you guys got a better view than seeing my face. Okay, 5070, 740 bucks. 3050, 66 gigabytes. $190. So it's $60 cheaper. $60 cheaper than the 5050 coming out. I don't know. That's still too steep. 250 bucks is still too steep for me. Price came down on the 5090s from 3,000 down to the upper 2,000s. Prices are starting to drop on the 9070 XTs, so they're starting to look a little bit more solid. A 9070, look at this, $1,716. If you go to pay that for RX 9070, you need to be shot. Seriously. As a 5060 Ti, this got 8 gigabytes for $380. There, that's more reasonable. 9070 for $680. But I still would go with the XT version myself. Let's move on down the road a little bit. 8 gigabytes, $409. 6600s, $219. This is cheaper, but on the relative performance chart, it's going to be faster than the 5050. 5060 Ti, 16 gigabytes, 500 bucks. 5070 with ARGB, that makes it go faster. 630 bucks. 5090, 8GB GME, which is a little bit faster than the 5050 for $110. From what they're claiming, I'm not claiming it because I didn't test it. I'm just telling you what they're claiming. 4060 is still too steep of a price. 9070 XT, still too steep. Let's see, GT 730, 90 bucks. Too pricey. Yeah. B580, $350. But if they would have went at MSRP, $250, it would have been a great contender. Great contender for the RTX 5050. If it was being sold at MSRP. So, just keep that in mind. If you find one at MSRP, then you got a better deal. Even though people say, well, the drivers are not so good and this and that. Yeah, well, let's move on. Let's go there to New Egg. And we're looking for graphics cards. We are looking for... we're looking for graphics cards. I still hate that color. 700 bucks. 3060, 12 gigabytes, 300 bucks. Still. Oh my God. It's just unbelievable. Unbelievable. I would still even go this for 390 bucks. Unbelievable. Let's see. You guys wonder why I get quiet sometimes. Well, here's the 1050 Ti. 186 bucks. 580 photon. Still too pricey. Look at this. $300 compared to $250. This might have 4.0 X8, but it's got 12 gigabyte of GDR6 compared to 8 gigabytes of GDR6. $50 difference. Better deal. 3050. Nope. 9060 XT, 16 gigabytes. 6600, still a better deal. Look at this, 5070 for 600 bucks. Unbelievable. I'm looking to see if they got a good price on something. And so far, it's not there yet. 6800 XT, Tai Chi, 519. Wow. Wow. I always liked the 6800 XT. I always had a liking for those. So, let's see, what else? What else we getting? Well, if we had a big bag of money, we would get a lot, but let's go ahead and go to Micron Center and type in graphics cards. Let's see. We got one graphics card. We got a 1030. Wow. That can't be right. That definitely cannot be right. You only got one on the page. Let's check the filter out. That's why. Let's move on. Okay. You guys see what I see, and there's so many changes. It's just 600 bucks for a 9070. I don't know. 9060. No. Not 9060 XT Hellhound. Is that the OC model? No. This is $10 cheaper. Can you figure that one out? $10 cheaper. That's an ugly card. Actually, no, it's not. I'm just kidding with you guys. Look, that's just the RGB enabled. But I would change the color of the RGB if I were y'all. So. What else? What else? What else? Is there anything else? Not a bad price for a 5070. Not a bad price. They bring it down to 529. 529. That's the margin. That would be equal with the 4070 at 529. I think. Just overpriced. Overpriced. Okay. Final thoughts, guys. We're at the point of final thoughts. And that comes down to my conclusion. And guess what? My conclusion is don't buy any graphics cards right now. Especially a 5050, which has no life left in it, even before it starts. And the reason why I'm saying this is this. There's a lot of cards that are a lot faster than this 5050. And their claims that it's faster than a 4070, I don't buy it. I know. I mean, is it, even if it's 8 gigabytes of VRAM, okay, that's not my concern. My concern is that their claims that this card is going to be faster than my 4070, which they made the claim even with the 5060 is not faster than the 4070. So how is the 5050 being over 150+% slower than the 5060? How is it going to match up? It doesn't match up. The numbers don't match. So like I said, take the numbers that they got with a grain of salt. I can tell you my numbers are original. My 4070 numbers are original. The 5060 numbers that I've seen are original because they're benchmarked. This 5050 is not benchmarked, but looking at the amount of bus bandwidth and everything else, I wouldn't even call it a budget-friendly card. For laptops, I might have considered, yeah, it being okay for laptops, which it is coming out in laptops. But as far as desktops, it's not viable. NVIDIA should switch their focus on the cards. Instead of making a 5050, they should focus on their cards and take a 5060 and make it 16 gigabytes of VRAM. A 5060. Scrap the 5050, make the 5060 a new upgrade to 16 gigabytes of VRAM. You already got the 5060 Ti with 16 gigabytes of VRAM. Scrap the rest. Well, keep the 5060 Ti 8 gigabytes and keep the 5060 Ti or 5060 8 gigabytes and do a 5060 16 gigabytes. Give people options of what they want to buy and see which ones they're really willing to buy. That's where you should first start. Scrap the idea of the 5070 at 12 gigabytes of VRAM. Do like you said, give it 18 gigabytes of VRAM. Give a 5060, make a 5060 Super with 16 gigabytes of VRAM. There you go. Make a 5060 Ti Super with 18 gigabytes of VRAM. If you really want to get adventurous, then take a 5070 and make it a 5070 Super with 18 gigabytes of VRAM. Give everybody an option on the VRAM. Yeah, you can do a 5060 Ti Super with 20 gigabytes of VRAM. What was that? 5070 Ti Super, 20 gigabytes of VRAM, and the 5080. Do a 5080 Super with 24 gigabytes of VRAM, and do a 5080 Ti with 30 gigabytes of VRAM. So you have a much bigger bracket that you can put more graphics cards in, but that 5050 I wouldn't focus on. For $50 less, it's not worth the performance. You'll take so much of a performance hit when you hit that 4x frame gen, and with ray tracing, the card won't even run. Loan to make the claims, because you're making the claim on a 9800 X3D, but you're not making the claim on older motherboards. And you got a large generation of people out there that have older equipment. They want to see what you can do for the older side and help them get to that next hurdle without having to change their platform, without having to change their motherboard, without having to change their CPU, without having to change their RAM or their SSDs. They want to know what kind of improvement with the GPU that you can make without them having to change their platform and costing them more money. So, I can tell you this. That's the reason why people are still using the GTX 1650. It's because on older hardware, it still will run. It's been running all these years, and it's going to continue to run. Because with the GTX 1650, it now can run the newest drivers 576.80. I know this because I got it on my potato. And it runs fine. And it runs Cyberpunk just fine. Without frame generation, it's running at 40 to 50 FPS. And with it on, it's running between 90 and 100 FPS. And that's at X2. I could play with 2x frame generation on using the CNN model. I could get away with that. It's an older piece of hardware, but it still keeps up, even for 1080p. Guys, that's just my 2 cents on this. You can take it any way which you want, but that's my conclusion. And if you made it to the end of the video, which I hope you did, hit that subscribe button, smash the like button. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you know when I post the next video. Until the next time and the next video, you know what it is, and we'll see you on the next one.
Slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up.